Thanks for joining us here today. I am Andy Lundquist. I work in marketing here at Pneumat, and we have the team assembled to talk about some of the solutions that we may be able to help your operation out with. On the call here today, we've got Greg Nelson, company president, and Sam Sabula, our general sales manager, and Rob Duffy, who oversees U.S. sales and our contract crews, and then Dustin Williams, who oversees international sales and works with industrial clients, especially for our Cardox line. So, Greg, do you want to just start us out with a little background on the company?
For almost 40 years, Pneumat's been working in the cleaning out silos and bins, with different bulk material processors and handlers around the world. We provide services to people if they need it, and we also sell them equipment and train them how to use it.
What kinds of industries and companies does Pneumat work with?
I think we're just about every industry imaginable, right? I mean, between the feed and grain industries, cement, coal, power plants,
plastics,
yeah.
Metals, soybean meal, or wheat millings, rendering facilities. We've been in there cleaning their silos.
Anything that's sticking up in bins and silos, or any product that's difficult to move, we'll take a shot at it and figure out a solution for the customer.
So what are some of the pain points and the reasons that people call Pneumat?
Tired of wearing their employees out, trying to get a bin freed up, injuring them. I think Rob can probably attest to this, is how many calls do you take throughout the day that want contract cleaning and they've just spent the last 2 months trying to do it themselves? All that wasted time and all that wasted money when they could have been doing other things.
It's easy to, want to put it out of your mind and hope it goes away. The problem is it really doesn't, and it does. You think it doesn't cost you anything, but it really does, because you're not using your capacity that your facility was designed for, or you're filling a bin, 10 times in a week instead of 2.
You see in the industries, some of these bins that catch fire and explode, they've ignored them for too long.
How about our current project in Chicago?
It was a plant that had been shut down for many years. Another company bought it, took it over. And yeah, there was some burnt material in there, some really hard material. There were several contractors that came in prior that couldn't do the project. They happened to call us, and we sent somebody out there to take a look at this one because it was a unique project. That happened to be Mr. Williams there.
The overall facility was huge. Every bin that I looked at this facility, it was black, nasty material down in the bottom of it. Material that had to get out. We were the second or the third contractor in there and we just happened to be the one that got stuff done like we normally do.
Well, it's another instance where we were called in because the company that was working on it previously just was not making very much progress.
And how often does that happen throughout the year, that we're the last and final contractor that gets onto a cleaning project? I know how many projects I've been on that, competitors' equipment sitting over in the corner while our bin whip's set up running. And it just seems to be that way. And Chicago was no different. How many, 3 months worth of money wasted, Rob? And then we went in there and accomplished 15 times the amount of anybody else.
Yeah.
So what's our secret sauce then? What is it that allows Pneumat to do that, to go in and clean out these difficult challenges that no one else can seem to tackle?
I think there's truly a couple of factors that come into play as you look at Pneumat as a solid solution provider. First and foremost is the equipment. The equipment that Pneumat has designed and built is not available anywhere else in the world. We're the only company that makes this quality, this higher grade equipment that performs in all kinds of applications. And I think the second thing that comes into play is our people. I mean, the guys that come out on contract crews, when they show up, they work hard. I've never, ever once heard a complaint from a customer saying, oh, your guys are just sitting around doing nothing. They're working constantly, trying to find the best way to solve the problem that you're having in your facility. We look for quality people all the time to come in and work for us. And the amazing part is at Pneumat, people stay. Rob's been with us for almost, he's employee number one.
Yeah, exactly.
If he wants to remind me.
Hey, I wasn't going to say that.
I know you weren't, Rob, but it was going to come up sooner or later, so I just thought I'd get it out of the way.
That's only because Dad didn't pay me.
Yeah, I mean, that longevity is a good point. I think that's one of the advantages of working with a company like us that's been cleaning silos for 40 years, because we're in it for the long haul. Like, we're going to be around.
I think one of the big benefits of working with Pneumat is, like Greg said, the experience that we have.
I stress with people is experience is huge. We don't necessarily have to come and visit your facility. We've seen a number of things. If you can send us some pictures, we can normally tell you right then and there if our equipment's going to work or if it doesn't.
Being new to the company, that's one of the things I've been impressed with, is just the long tenure of the staff, which includes the customer-facing employees, but also our engineers, our production people, and which is a whole other side of our business.
Yeah, I mean, Pneumat Systems is a state-of-the-art CNC machining, assembly, welding, design facility. It's not two guys in a shed. It's close to that's where it started.
Yeah, very close.
But we've made the investments.
The dual impact is a perfect example. Our single rotational whip head carried us for the last 30 plus years. It worked brilliantly, and it still worked better than anything else that was out there. But there were some things that it didn't do so well. That's where the dual impact came from. You're cleaning your silos so much faster, and in removing that hard material at a quicker rate, which again is just saving them money in the long run.
I see online there's still companies out there that are using various types of air-powered bin cleaning equipment. They'll have like a big compressor on the ground. What's kind of our philosophy when it comes to hydraulics versus some of the pneumatic tools that are still out there?
It's outdated technology, period. There's really not a whole lot else to say about it. A pneumatically powered whip uses generation of speed to clean. Once you generate that speed and those whips make contact with the material, they bog down almost to a stop. That pneumatic whip head has to swing back out into open air, regain that speed, generate that speed again, and then back into the product. So imagine a cleaning project where you're spending half of your time out in open air just trying to gain power again. And then imagine the compressor. I've heard of what some of the rental fees are.
Well, for me, it comes down to its basic physics. Bin cleaning is really applying some energy to a product that's not moving to get it to start moving. The hydraulic power system is a lot more efficient. We can give that same impact, that same power to transfer into the material we're trying to knock loose at lower speeds and still have all the torque and hitting impact. And when it's at lower speeds, now we can control it where it goes. So take that hydraulic power and then put it into the dual impact head. Now you've got that high torque, high impact going in opposite directions. What that means is it's balancing out that hitting force.
You sound like an engineer, Greg.
The other advantage of that is that with the counter rotation, you don't have the ledges that the standard or the air whips will create. This will cut one path all the way up.
Throughout our history, that Pneumat's been the company that's always moved the technology forward.
Oh, Cardox falls into that same realm. We went from a gravity filling method to the auto filling method or pump filling method. That was a Pneumat thing.
Yep.
There was one instant early on with Cardox where a company, when their tower would plug up, they'd have to shut the whole plant down, and it was down for 2 to 3 weeks at times. And we introduced Cardox, Greg and I, and to that facility, and they went from being down 2 to 3 weeks to being down for maybe a couple hours or less, and not having to shut anything down, and that saved them hundreds of thousands of dollars a year.
So is safety driving some of these investments that companies are making in bin cleaning equipment?
Oh yeah, by far. You know, when you talk about how they send people down in silos on a boatsman's chair, how they have people on the bottom swinging with sledgehammers. You know, they don't want to have these work comp claims when they have a solution.
And I think you're seeing that all over the world. Safety regulations are changing. People are becoming safer, and the importance and the value that their employees have. Instead of putting them in harm's way, they're actually starting to invest in the equipment and the tools to get the job done safer, faster, and easier. Woo! Like that one in there, Greg?
I do a lot.
I mean, 5 years ago, our Benwhip sales internationally were very marginal. Today, it's a really huge part of our business. And we deploy the Benwhip system all over the globe, and we're making a difference. We're changing how people approach silo cleanout. And at the end of the day, we're truly saving people's lives.
How about turnover? Do our products ever have an impact on that when it comes to employee retention? And I know we've spoken of safety.
I think the best example of that probably comes from an installation we did over in Winona, Minnesota for a truck unloading system called a hopper popper that we do. They had a facility that they unloaded trucks and then they loaded the product out of those trucks into barges. It was taking them an hour to 2 hours per truck to get them emptied, with 6 people banging and pounding on the bottom of the truck with rubber mallets. They were constantly battling to keep people on staff. When we put the hopper popper in, we changed that unloading time from an hour to 2 down to roughly 10 minutes. Took that facility from being almost a loser and ADM just about closing it to being a solid winner for them.
Well, another one that really hit home for us was the inception of the rail spreader system. A big processor came to us that they were having trouble loading rail cars because it was so dusty, and they're having to shovel and bend over and trying to get these rail cars full. And that's when we came up with the rail spreader, and it was a total success story. They now put it in almost all of their different facilities.
It's also probably the best return on investment product that Pneumat offers. We literally save companies millions of dollars a year in transportation cost savings just by putting more product in their rail cars every day.
Oh, and you know, we talked about the effectiveness of our equipment, but what about longevity? We don't build junk. I stress this with everybody. Durability of the Pneumat Benwhip is incredible.
I just talked to a guy in Iowa, and theirs was in 93.
Yep.
And it's still working.
I think Dustin said it all earlier. At the end of the day, we're the most affordable solution. When you buy new equipment, we may not be the cheapest in the market. However, if you look at our quality, our performance, our capabilities, how long you're going to have that equipment, we think it's a pretty easy decision.
And not only just gaining a supplier, but they're gaining a partner. Somebody that's going to work with them, help them whenever we need to be there for them.
Well, we're coming up on the end here. I want to thank everyone for joining us today. And Sam, what should folks do if they want to learn more about their options?
At the end of the day, I think we talked about a lot of products that Pneumat has that really changed the game for a lot of facilities. You know, so if you have a minute, run out to our website and take a look. We'll probably have more conversations like this down the road. We know that products are challenging for all of us. It's hard to get stuff out of bins. It's hard to get stuff out of rail cars. It's hard to get stuff out of trucks. It's hard to get your rail cars full. Those are all things we can help you with. So, you know, if you want an easy way to get a hold of us, why don't you just click on the button down at the bottom of the page and set up a call. You know, we'll figure out which one of us probably can help you the most and start to get your problems solved. So click the button below and we'll see you next time.
We're standing by.